Hi, I'm Andrew from Parlogram, and in this video, something a little bit different, as I test out the Vevor Ultrasonic record cleaning machine. But first, we need some dirty records, so let's get down the flea market and find some. So, here are the records I bought back from the flea market. We've got a German first pressing of Paul McCartney's Pipes of Peace, a German first pressing of Ringo's Stop and Smell the Roses, an East German pressing of a collection of Beatles oldies, a UK first pressing of Supertramp's Crime of the Century, a German pressing of Flowers in the Rain by The Move. Let's now take a closer look at them and see how dirty they really are. tube, dividers, I think, mains power cable, little tea strainer for making a cup of tea, maybe that'd be useful. Oh, that's the power adapter. This is some sort of motor. Ultrasonic Cleaners user manual. That's what we want. So let's dig into that. Okay, so basically this is an ultrasonic cleaning machine, which with the help of these attachments you see in front of me, turns it into an ultrasonic record cleaning machine. So it comes with a helpful picture of how it should look when it's set up. So let's try and do that. So this I've worked out is the power lead for the cleaning machine itself. And these are the separators, because you can do 5 records at once. And this is the power for the motor, which spins the records on the machine. So let's get them connected. Okay, so let's plug this in. That's spinning round now, this little motor. There isn't an external switch to switch it off. You have to just unplug it, I suppose. Okay, all right, we'll leave that for now. That's how that works. This looks like fun. Lots of screws in this. Lots of screws and washers here. If you like putting models together and things like that, you're really going to enjoy this. All right, so this, I think, is the drying rack. And it's sort of put together like that. Let's see. And do one washer, maybe. A little wing nut. So I've worked out from somebody else's video that this is how this record drying rack should look. But we won't need that for a minute, so I'll put this aside. So next thing is you take your motor and you put your spindle into there and screw it up. So that stays on there tight. So now we're ready to put our records on the spindle. So, spacer and record. 1, spacer, record, spacer, record. We'll put the move on next, I think. Record. Spacer. That's a bit tight. But it's on. It's on. And have we got room for one more? What is that? 4, 5. Okay, we'll do Supertramp. Last one. We're not going to need this because we're doing 5 records. I guess if you're doing 1 or 2, you put that on the end as a kind of spacer. So we'll do the maximum. Okay. There are your records on your spindle. Now it does say in the instructions that you shouldn't fill it up from the tap because you might spill it and damage the electrics. But also tap water isn't good for cleaning records, which is why I recommend distilled water. So let's see if we can put some of this in without spilling it. Make sure it's not coming out of the drain. There doesn't seem to be a mark inside the bath here as to how much you should fill it up to, but I'm not going to overfill it for now because I don't want to empty it on the table. Another thing I'm going to put in is some cleaning agent. Now, you can put in whatever you like. Some people put in dishwashing fluid. Some have some specialist record cleaning solutions. But I'm just going to put in some isopropyl alcohol. Just a small amount so the water will actually stick to the surface of the record. That should be enough. Strong stuff, 99.9%. Now, what you do now is hook this thing on the side of the cleaning machine. Yeah, I think I'm going to need a bit more water in there. So I'm going to top that up while I can see the records inside. Let's just... So about there. It goes up to about the run-out groove of the Crime of the Century album. So that's my measurement. I'm sticking to it. So now it's all set up and nearly ready to go. We've got the records on the spindle. We've got the motor mounted on the back of the bath here. And all that remains now is to switch it on. Now on the front of the machine, there's a temperature control and a timer. And in order to work properly, the water inside the machine needs to be slightly warm. So what you need to do is turn it to about 30 or 40 degrees and let it heat up for about half an hour before you can start cleaning. So the next thing to do is connect the motor to spin the records. Now let's start the ultrasonic process, and to begin with I'm going to give it 15 minutes, so here goes. Okay, that's how loud it is. I'm speaking in my normal voice, and you can probably hear it's an odd kind of noise. Anyway, I'm going to leave it now for 15 minutes, and then I'll come back and we'll see if they're clean up. So that's the cleaning cycle finished. Let's get them out of the bath, onto the drying rack, and see if they're really clean. Well, it appears that most of the dust and dirt has gone from the playing surface of the Ringo album. The East German Oldies album has cleaned up nicely too. The scratches are still there, but of course no cleaning machine will remove those. Now let's see if it's cleaned up the sound quality with some before cleaning and after cleaning clips. So as you saw, these records from the flea market cleaned up pretty well, both visually and audibly. So if you have a record collection that you cherish and want to look after it, I highly recommend you get a record cleaning machine. And this one is great value. If you'd like to order the Vevor ultrasonic record cleaning machine for yourself, just click on either the EU or US link in the description and use this code for a 5% discount, not just on this, but on all Vevor products. I hope you enjoyed this detour from my usual content and found it informative. So thank you to Vevor for sending me the machine, and thank you for watching.